On this morning, I would like to return to Psalm 121 to read into your hearing, to serve as a background for the day's message. Psalm 121, verses 1 through 8. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall not slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not spite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. So on this morning, I would like to return and continue with the fundamental concept of the Lord will keep you. The understanding that the Lord will keep you. And also, I would like to present another phrase that we tend to recite from time to time. If you want to be kept. From time to time, if you want to be kept. The Lord will keep you if you want to be kept. Now, this statement, if you want to be kept, speak towards an option. Like we have an option, whereas we can decide if the Lord would keep us. But if we take a moment, no matter where we are in life, if we take one moment, and if we look deep down within ourselves, who wouldn't want to be kept by the Lord? If we take a moment to look deep down inside, who wouldn't want the Lord to keep them? The Lord will keep you if you want to be kept. Now, in my experience, correct me if I'm wrong, but in my experience, in hearing this statement, it indicates a level of behavior that is expected. Right. When I hear this statement, the Lord will keep you if you want to be kept. One dimension, in one phrase. Now, in my experience, in hearing this statement, it indicates a level of behavior that is expected. Meaning that not to be kept is in reference to one's lifestyle. And even down to the choices that one has made. Maybe certain behavior that has been deemed unrighteous by the ones that make this statement. The Lord will keep you if you want to be kept, comes with an indication of an expected behavior. The Lord will keep you if you want to be kept. Now, this statement for one to make this statement, it is to suggest that the one making a statement has escaped temptation. They did not give in. Why? Because they wanted to be kept. The Lord will keep you if you want to be kept. So it was because of how righteous I was that I was able to be kept. stood up to testify. Now, for a minute, just indulge me for a minute as we run through a testimony that has been presented. So the person stood up to testify, right? Which in a way, while testifying, it was putting down others that was not able to be as righteous as thee. Have you ever heard any of those type of testimonies? Where God tends to be on the outside while the person testifying is on the inside. Now, while testifying under the banner of the Lord will keep you if you want to be kept, the testimony served as an indictment amongst a room filled with young adults. I don't know, maybe this was like a conference, or it was a gathering for young adults. And this testimony served as an indictment amongst a room filled with young adults, hinting towards sexual immorality, meaning there were some amongst the crowd that had babies. You know, they had children. And to top it off, they wasn't even married. You know how that goes amongst us religious folks. Now, to end the testimony, the Lord will keep you if you want to be kept. It's been over 20 years, and the Lord has kept me. The Lord will keep you if you want to be kept. But didn't we all come from somewhere? I mean, is it possible to give us time to grow? Or are we all spiritually mature once we accept Jesus? It's been over 20 years and the Lord has kept me. But by the way, how did you resist all the temptations that came your way over the span of 20 years? You know, it is easy for us to testify of the temptations that we have resisted. But what about the temptations that we didn't resist, but yet gave in to them? Now, don't get me wrong, saints of the Most High. Don't get me wrong. It is possible to overcome a multitude of temptations and to champion this for over 20 years. Because what is impossible with man is possible with God. What is impossible with man is possible with God. Indicating, indicating it is not in my strength that I'm able to stand tall, but rather it is in God's strength. Remember the testimonies that keep God on the outside, but place you on the inside. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says something about my grace is sufficient for thee. Right. But this is what I want. For my strength is made perfect in weakness. Maybe I should not be bragging about my strength. Maybe I should be boasting about my weakness so that God can stand strong. That if it had not been for the Lord, I would have gave in to the temptation. And guess what? The times that I did give in to the temptation,
Thanks and honor be to God that he pulled me out and sustained me within it. That he didn't pay me back for what my sins was truly worth. Now that's a testimony. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, it's just Paul talking. Right. Matter of fact, let's grab a little context while we're here, while we're talking about strength and weakness. Right. Verses 7 to 10. So to keep me, Paul is talking to the Corinthians, the folks in Corinth, the Corinthians. So to keep me from becoming conceited, oh my goodness, to keep me from being conceited because of the surpassing greatness of the revelations. Right. He received the great revelations. Right. God has showed him something that man should not utter. But to keep him from being conceited, a thorn was given to me in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to harass me, to keep me from becoming conceited. 3 times, here we go, now y'all know where we at. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord about this, that he should leave me, but he said, my grace is sufficient. What? I won't remove you from the situation, but my grace is sufficient. Lord, take me out. My grace is sufficient. I know you carrying around that lot, that burden, but my grace is sufficient. I know what you want, but my grace is sufficient. When God denies our requests, because you do know that just because we walk with God, it doesn't mean he's going to remove everything out of our way. It's some things we're going to have to go through, going to have to deal with, and guess what? Have to live with. But on top of that, he says, my grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness. So Paul says, therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weakness, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, then, I am content with weakness, insults, hardship, persecution, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Keep me from being conceited. But what about the frailty of humanity? The slim chance that we are not right all the time. The Lord will keep you if you want to be kept. The thought process we're examining behind the statement, the Lord will keep you if you want to be kept. But what if the Lord will keep you even if you don't want to be kept? What if the Lord will keep you even if you don't want to be kept? Now, as we're using this phrase, if you want to be kept, the understanding is it speaks towards and indicates a level of behavior that is expected from the eyes of those that are righteous. Right. The ones that say the Lord will keep you if you want to be kept indicates that there's a certain behavior that is expected that ties to if you want to be kept. Because if you want to be kept, you would do what the Lord will command you to do. Meaning, that not to be kept is in reference to one's lifestyle, and even down to the choices that one has made. Maybe certain behavior that has been deemed unrighteous by the ones that makes this statement. Now, if we take a moment and consider the biblical account about the woman that was caught in adultery. Now, Jesus kept the woman from being stoned. But however, she did have to endure the shame, but was also presented with grace, mercy, and redemption. Hold on for a second. No wicked deed would go unpunished. Don't get it wrong. You can't go out and do whatever you want to do without consequences. And no, we're not saying that. We're just holding up the example that the Lord will keep you even if you don't want to be kept. Meaning that your actions does not measure up to the term of righteous, right, and doing the right thing. But however, in this biblical account, Jesus kept the woman from being stoned, but yet she did have to endure the shame. But she was also presented with grace, mercy, and redemption. In our definition of being kept, she didn't want to be kept because of the actions and the behavior she was displaying and the choices that she was making. She didn't want to be kept. But somehow, some way, someone was keeping watch over her besides the guys that brought her to Jesus. You know, some guys got together righteous in righteous indignation, claiming to be righteous, which they was righteous in their own way. You know, some guys got together and decided that they was going to catch her in the act and bring her to Jesus. Somebody was watching over her besides these guys that brought her to Jesus. See, there is a propensity, a tendency to hold and rush to judgment towards another, to be ready to stone another due to their shortcomings, misdeeds, or even perceived misdeeds, like Job's friends. You remember Job's friends. It was what they believed about God that caused them to assume and accuse Job of wrongdoing. We got on the spectrum. We got one that's in the right and we got one that's in the wrong. But let's examine this for a second. How can my belief in God create such a negative view? How can my belief in God creates such a critical view? How can my belief in God place me in attack mode instead of defending mode? How can my belief in God create such anger towards another? Do you get it? How can my belief in God create something that is technically ungodly? If we take a moment to rehearse and recall what God said to Job's friends, And these was those that considered themselves righteous. And by measure, they was. Just because they operated under a misunderstanding doesn't make them wicked. Just misinformed. And may have been persuaded by other influences. After all, remember the frailty of humanity. There is a possibility that you don't get it right all the time. Job 42:7, and the Lord has spoken these words to Job, because you know I had to get him straight. Let him know. Was you there when I created heaven and earth? You know I work in mysterious ways. Trust me and watch me work. And the Lord has spoken these things to Job. After the Lord had spoken these things to Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, my anger burns against you and against your two friends, for you have not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has. It was what they believed about God that caused them to speak in the manner that they did. And to turn around and find out what they spoke about God wasn't even right. Wow. Think about that. What they believed in God caused them to speak in the manner in which they did. And to turn around and find out what they spoke about God was not right. Quick to rush to judgment. And certain that they were right. So they stood on their assumptions and shot out their accusations. All because of what they believed about God. Now, rest on that. But if we take a moment, let's refer back to the biblical account about the woman that was caught in adultery. Jesus kept the woman from being stoned, but she had to endure the shame, but also was presented with grace, mercy, and redemption. And in our definition, she didn't want to be kept because of the actions and behavior she was displaying and the choices that she was making. She didn't want to be kept, but someone was keeping watch over her, besides the guys that brought her to Jesus. Now, this woman was caught in the very act. And to continue with this example, she was wrong, caught red-handed. But you know what I think was a bigger issue, right? She was caught doing wrong. She was in the wrong, no doubt about that. But you know what I think was the bigger issue? The hatred that permeated, penetrated, and infiltrated religion. The green light to spread hatred instead of hope. The green light to cast out instead of redeeming. The readiness to cause harm at your own displeasure. Notice what spared the woman. Now let's take a critical look, a deeper look. You know what spared the woman? It really wasn't Jesus. It really wasn't Jesus, but rather it was the folks with the stone in their hands. They spared her. Why? It was because of them that the woman was spared. It was the righteousness that they claimed. It was what they testified to in front of Jesus. The woman has sinned. with the boldness in which they came, the righteousness in which they stood. We have a right to stone this woman. Why? Because she have sinned. What about the testimonies that testify of times in which we have given into temptation? What about those testimonies? Now, Jesus said, fine, do what you came to do. But however, there is one qualification. One that qualifies you to take the actions that you want to take. If you can meet this qualification, then you may stone her. You yourself must be without sin. Can you meet that qualification? Ye who is without sin, go ahead and cast the first stone. At that moment, they went away convicted of their own conscience. One by one, beginning with the older ones down to the youngest. Now they were no more righteous than she was. Or was they? Meaning that the frailty of humanity is strong and is in effect. It is possible that we will not be right all the time, but yet we have a loving God that is not interested in our demise, but yet in our salvation. The Lord will keep watch over thee. Amen. And one last thought. If the Lord moves in mysterious ways, let him. You might just be surprised. Now I would like to give a few announcements in case someone that wasn't on last week, is that beginning on the first Sunday in November, we will resume communion virtually. So be ready for the first Sunday in November. And also a reminder that we have a prayer line on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. If you need prayer, join in. We have some prayer warriors that stay ready and stay in battle for us saints. Phone number on today is the phone number you dialed in this morning, since we couldn't have Facebook Live. But also, we have Bible study on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. We have the Zoom link available, and we have the phone. The Zoom link is located on our Facebook page. So with those announcements, all minds are clear. We'll look to the Lord to be dismissed. Dear Father, we want to thank you on this morning. Thank you for your mercy. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for making a way. Thank you for walking with us. Thank you for keeping us, even in times when we don't want to be kept, when we let the flesh take control. We ask that you will continue to strengthen us, uplift us, educate us, teach us of your will and your way. And we pray for all of our families, all of our friends, and all of our loved ones, and all your people across the land, that you continue to strengthen them, that we may make a difference. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.